Airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
Man, it feels great to be a Duck. Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Their competitors, they'll want to put the O on.
Three, got it!
We're going to compete to a standard every day.
The Oregon standard.
Rebound, up and in! 1 point more to go!
The opportunity to play, put Oregon on your chest, should mean a great deal to you.
Unloads on one into left field, back toward the wall. Gone!
This program is staged to compete and to win championships.
Oregon wins!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, let's talk Oregon athletics.
Duck Insider on a Thursday. Ryan Milano filling in for Joey Mack on the eve of Oregon Regional postseason baseball in Nashville. Joined by Joey Mack on the Zoom computer in Nashville. Joey, happy to report that the studio is still intact for now.
For now is the key phrase. Just like yesterday, you said that it hadn't burned down yet, and I said yet was the key phrase. No, all good. You know, this is great. How are things back in Eugene?
Things are great. We're keeping things alive. We're keeping things afloat. There's luckily no pets in the studio, so nothing I have to feed to continue to keep things operating. But for right now, nothing on the desk has left, to my knowledge, so I think that we're all okay. How's life in Nashville?
Good. It's a little bit sticky in Nashville for my liking. It's like kind of a thunderstormy type of setting, but no, it's good. The Ducks actually practice at Lipscomb this morning. I always pronounce that wrong. Lipscomb. It's a difficult word for me to say. The Ducks practiced at Lipscomb. See? The Ducks practiced at Lipscomb this morning. And then they actually got a chance to play and take some BP at Vanderbilt's facility. So the Ducks have now seen the field. That's what today was dedicated to, was practice and getting ready for this Nashville regional. That, you know, it's odd. The Nashville regional that the Ducks played in 2014 featured 3 of the 4 teams that are in the regional this year. The one exception, Eastern Illinois this year, instead of Clemson. And that's a Clemson team that Oregon beat last time they were in a Nashville regional hosted by Vanderbilt, like 18-1. Yeah, it's odd how that worked out. That Xavier is also here again, a Xavier team that Oregon beat earlier this year.
I know that last time that the Ducks were in Nashville, you were on the call for Oregon softball. Is this your first time in Nashville at all, just as a human, Joey Mack?
It is. And we've had a lot of debates about this, that if you land in an airport, that doesn't count.
No, of course not.
Well, see, there are differing philosophies, but I'm a believer that you got to leave the airport. So, for example, I have been to Chicago O'Hare. I've never actually been to Chicago. I've only ever been to the city's airport, I should say. And similarly, Oregon actually chartered with Oregon State. The Beavs and the Ducks were on the same plane yesterday. And so we dropped the Beavs off in Baton Rouge. And so that was the first time that many people had ever set foot in Louisiana. But see, they didn't actually set foot in Louisiana because they stayed on the plane. So I don't think it counts. So I have yet to actually be to Louisiana, and this is my first time in Nashville. Yes.
No, I don't think it counts either. And for the record, I have neither been to Chicago O'Hare nor the Chicago proper outside of the plane either. So I
couldn't tell you if you're missing anything. I really couldn't tell you if you're missing anything.
Well, I'm a little bit surprised for you, Joey, because first time in Nashville, I thought you were going to hop on the Zoom call with a cowboy hat, maybe some boots, listening to country music. None of it.
Well, I don't know if you can see behind me, but actually the decoration on the wall here, these are all albums. So like you can see all the various different albums on the wall. And my hunch is that a lot of them have Nashville roots. I actually haven't looked that close, if I'm being honest with you. But yeah, that's where we're staying. We're actually staying right near the ballpark. It's like right on the Vanderbilt campus. And I do have to tell you, before we actually talk baseball, one of the more interesting experiences of my entire life yesterday. So I mentioned earlier dropping the Oregon State baseball team off in Baton Rouge because they're playing at LSU. Well, the pilot was getting ready to take off again. So we were going down the runway in the Baton Rouge airport, and about halfway through the runway, just hit the brakes. That never happened to me before, and I'm curious. Is Scott directing today? Does he have his headset on?
Yes, he is.
Okay, Scott, put your microphone on so that people can hear you, because you've probably logged more flight time than me. Maybe not in the last decade, but you've probably logged more flight time than me in your career, because you traveled and like routinely until what, like 5 years ago? Is that right?
Yeah, it was about 20 years straight with football and men's basketball.
Right. So, okay. Have you ever in your entire career had, like, you are about to feel the liftoff on the plane and then it's just slam on the brakes, you stop mid-runway?
No,
has that ever happened to you?
And that would freak me out.
Dude, so that happened yesterday. And I asked Todd Miles, who's been doing this for 30 plus years. I asked Mark Wazakowski, who obviously has logged a lot of flight time, all the coaches. It had never happened to any of us before. What ended up happening is they had an instrument failure in the cockpit. And so there's various checks that you go through when you're taking off. And they had instrument failure in the cockpit. They got it fixed. We got back up in the air a little while later, or took off again, I should say, a little bit while later. But I had never had that happen before. And so there's always something new that happens on every one of these road trips. And that's my story to start Duck Insider today.
Yeah, that's a great way to instill confidence to start off a trip, Joey. I do have a homework assignment for you, though, before you do get back to Eugene. I need at least 3 of those albums on the wall. I need you to listen to a few songs from some of them, maybe a book report, album report. Pick your poison. Maybe there's an Elvis Presley up there. I need a report.
Now that I'm actually looking, let's see. There's a Black Keys album that I've heard. There's a White Stripes album that I've heard. There's a Garfunkel album that I've heard up there. Those are just the ones that I can read really quickly. No, I've heard many of the ones that are already up there.
So you're more ingrained in the Nashville music scene than you'd like to admit. You've at least heard of some of them.
I think that being ingrained in the Nashville music scene is like just being someone who listens to music.
Yeah.
There's a lot of music that comes out.
Those check the boxes, right?
Yeah, I think so. I bet you that Scott's been to a Garfunkel show.
Have you, Scott? He says no.
Oh, I don't believe him. I don't think I believe that.
Joey, I do want to actually get back on track, talk about baseball, because it is a big weekend, believe it or not, for Oregon coming up. It is the regional.
Huge.
In the Nashville Regional, Vanderbilt the host. Oregon will play Xavier in the first game. That coming up tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So programming note, no Duck Insider tomorrow because Joey Mack potentially will still be finishing up that game on the air. Likely will be. So this is a familiar opponent, though. Oregon played Xavier first weekend of the season. Ducks got it done. Ducks got the sweep over Xavier. For you, what went right for Oregon the first time around against the Musketeers that gave Oregon early success in the beginning of the season?
Well, I thought early in the season, I mean, it's amazing how much things can change, first of all, early in the season. For example, opening weekend, Sabine Ceballos was not the starting third baseman for the Ducks, just as an example. Sabine ended up being an all-conference player for the Ducks. So things can change. I mean, I thought that the pitching, particularly the young pitching in the Xavier series, was really, really good. I think that if you told me with RJ Gordon, with Isaac Aon being banged up, Jay Stoffel did not start a game in that Xavier series. The Ducks held him out that opening weekend. So if you told me all 3 of Oregon's starting pitchers from last year aren't going to pitch in this series, how's it going to go? I would have said, well, it might be some high-scoring shootout-type games. Well, the Ducks won the first game 3-2. They won the first game of a doubleheader on Saturday 9-2. Then they won the second game 5-3, and then they won 3-1 on Sunday. The pitching staff was really, really good in that Xavier series. And that's what I remember. I remember taking away like, wow, maybe this young pitching staff's really, really good. Leo Ullman, Matthew Grabman, Jackson Pace, like all meaningful innings and starts in that weekend. So, I walked away from that Xavier series thinking, okay, Oregon's got some good young pitching. Now, like any young pitching staff throughout the country, as the season went on, it's been up and down for the Ducks. And Mark Wasikowski and I think all of Oregon's staff and players would tell you that. So how different a team is now? Well, heading into this thing, and maybe oddly how similar these things are, now I'm thinking about how Oregon's pitching staff is very different than when the Ducks played Xavier, but also the formula might need to be the same here in Nashville, because Oregon's bullpen in 24 1/3 innings of work in the 4 games in the Pac-12 tournament, Oregon's bullpen gave up only 3 runs in the Pac-12 tournament. Now, Jay Stoffel has not pitched in a while. We know that. I know a lot of people are wondering about Isaac Aon and Jay Stoffel, and I guess at the end of the day, we'll find out in this Nashville regional, but I would be surprised if they're part of at least a big plan, because it's been so long since they've actually pitched on the mound for the Ducks. So all in all, I think that the young pitching may have to come through again. It might be somebody like Grayson Grinsell, who got his first career start against Cal in the Pac-12 tournament. It might be somebody like Grayson who has to make a big start in this regional. It might be, somebody like a Dylan McShane, who has had some meaningful innings out of the bullpen for the Ducks of late. Just a couple examples, and my point being that, Oregon early in the season, the pitching was excellent. The young pitching was great against Xavier. The offense actually started a little slow this year. I think we'll all remember. Now it's kind of been the offense has carried the Ducks, and when the pitching's on, then the Ducks are really, really good.
I think you hit on 2 really good points there, Joey, that I want to dive into a little bit more, both with the identity of the team and sort of how it's changed from the beginning of the season until now, and how it's almost ebbed and flowed to the point where with a few injuries it's kind of been that beginning of the season identity. And I also do want to touch on that freshman pitching, because Grayson Grinsell was named to the Pac-12 All-Tournament team. Turner Spoljaric was Pac-12 Pitcher of the Week in the last week of the regular season. He pitched in the game, in the Pac-12 title game for the Ducks. So I do want to touch on the identity of Oregon and how that has changed throughout the course of the season, and how the freshman pitchers towards the end of the season have really played a big impact into helping the Ducks go on this streak as of late to continue their trajectory to secure a spot into this NCAA regional.
Well, let's start with Grayson Grinsell. I mean, I think that Grayson Grinsell has emerged as probably Oregon's most consistent bullpen option, apart from maybe Josh Malaris. But I just think that Grayson Grinsell has been rock solid for the Ducks of late. Like if you need somebody to come in and what you're going to get, he's going to throw strikes, he's going to compete, he's going to get outs. Like right now, I think that's Grayson Grinsell. And that I think is why Oregon started him against Cal. They knew that they could open things up with him. And so, I think that he's a big deal. And just case in point, like looking at that Xavier series, the starters were Logan Mercado, Leo Ullman, Jackson Pace started the 4th game. Matthew Grabman. Those are 3 guys that ended up being a big deal for Oregon over the course of the season, but down the stretch, they haven't been as consistent. So I think that the young pitching in general is going to have to step up. I mean, for example, we might end up seeing an Ian Umlant, for example, in this Nashville regional, because anybody is available. I mean, Mark Wasikowski said that anybody was available in the championship game against Arizona. And if it wasn't for Turner Spoljaric having either the best or the second best start of his career, you alluded to the all conference, or I should say the conference pitcher of the week honor that he garnered after his performance against Utah. Turner Spoljaric was just as good, I thought, in the championship game against Arizona. And so, if that doesn't happen, what would the bullpen situation have been for the Ducks against Arizona? Everybody would have been on deck. And so I think that's what I kind of expect here in the regional. And, like this isn't rare. Like another example, Vanderbilt had a guy in the SEC tournament that had not started all year start 2 games. Ended up being some really big time games for Vanderbilt. Now, the Ducks are going to have to take care of business against Xavier if they want a right to play Vanderbilt here, assuming that Vanderbilt takes care of the 4 seed in Eastern Illinois. But you got to think that the Ducks are probably matching up with Vandy at some point. And they're in kind of a similar boat, actually. Their best pitcher got hurt about a month ago. Does it sound familiar?
Sounds pretty familiar to me, and there's a lot that I still want to talk to you about in terms of postseason, how the pitching plays into it, how Oregon is going to have to be able to get things done to succeed and advance forward in postseason play. Are you available to stick around for another segment?
Of course.
All right. Well, we're going to take a timeout, and when we come back, even more Joey Mack. You're listening to Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield. Keep it here.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, OnPoint proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. OnPoint Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCAA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
To your children's eyes to see the true magic of a forest. It's a storybook world for them. You look and see a tree. They see the wrinkled face of a wizard with arms outstretched to the sky. They see treasure in pebbles. They see a windy path that could lead to adventure. And they see you, their fearless guide through this fascinating world.
Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studios. Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Ryan Milano filling in for Joey Mack, joined by Joey Mack. He is in Nashville. The Ducks will play against Xavier in Game 1 of the Nashville Regional tomorrow at 10 a.m. That game on ESPN Plus, and with Joey on the Oregon Sports Network. And Joey, you've been around the block a few times. You've been to a regional more than a time or two. What does it take for success in this type of postseason format? What are those keys?
Win the first one. I think it's so much easier in a double elimination tournament when you win the first one. I do like that now these regionals have the if necessary game on Monday. It hadn't always been that way. I like that you can spread out your pitching a little bit more in that regard. Also, selfishly, for our radio affiliates, I know how difficult it is to play a game later in the day when you don't know for sure that you're going to play a game. So I like that. But in order to really, I think, secure your fate, you got to win the first one. And I just got to say that you're filling in for Joey Mack, and then I'm joining you. This is some Inception type stuff. Like, you're a dream within a dream level right here, Milano. Your scripting is it rivals my time shift that makes Scott scream and pull his hair out.
Really?
When I talk about how, like, we record something on a Tuesday, but then it airs on a Wednesday while we're previewing a Friday.
Well, it's very ironic you say that, Joey, because as of late, as you know, I'm an elite sleeper. I have a few skills. Sleeping is one of them, and I've been having some vivid dreams lately where the realm between reality and dream has really been blurred, where there are times where
those are the worst.
I feel like I've lived an entire week, and then I'll wake up and I'll think that I've like texted you about a show, and then I'll look and it didn't happen, and in my entire dream I went through it all. So it's very fitting.
No, I've done that. I've had dreams that I've texted and talked to Scott about things, and then I realize when I walk into the studio that I never had that conversation with him. Yep.
It didn't used to happen. It just started happening to me like 3 weeks ago. So
welcome to the team.
Yeah, I guess it's initiation for me.
I think that it just is a what's the most diplomatic way to say this? I think that it's a 1, rite of passage, and 2, confirmation of your dedication to the role. Was that good, Scott? Did that came off the way that we meant it to?
In other words, I'm stuck here.
That's right. That's right.
Joey, I do want to talk to you about some news that came out this morning. Drew Cali announced as an NFCA All-American named to the 3rd team. I just want your opinion on his season and how good of a season he's actually had for the Ducks this year to earn those honors.
Well, it's a huge deal, I think. I mean, maybe the best way that I can describe it is here are the all-time, for example, collegiate baseball All-Americans. Gabe Matthews, Tanner Smith, Aaron Zavala, David Peterson, Kenyon Yovan, Steven Nagosic, Jimmy Sherfy, Alex Cadell, Jimmy Sherfy again, and Tyler Anderson. Almost all of those guys have played in the big leagues, and Drew Cali's in that conversation. I think that it's great to one, get it from to one, I guess I should say, for one, getting it, I think, after the year that he's had is really cool. And also, two, getting it as a transfer from Cal Poly Pomona. I think it says a lot about baseball when you can transfer to a Pac-12 school and still have success the way that Drew has. And I mean, shoot, I can't help but think, had he not hurt that handmate bone last year, I think he would have been an All-American last year. I think that he was that good. He was hitting over 400 when he got hurt. And he missed about 6 weeks of the season a year ago. And man, he's been good. I think that at the next level, I don't know that he's a shortstop, but I think he's played it really well here at Oregon. And I think offensively, the power that he's added this year and his ability to just spray the ball all over the field, I don't know another way to describe him at this point other than he's just a professional hitter. Like he just looks like a professional hitter with his approach, everything that comes with it. I think that Drew Cali's really good. And I'm glad that he got that All-American nod. Look, there are not a lot of athletes that get that honor. There are not a lot of athletes at Oregon that get that honor. Drew Cali did it.
Yeah, and I think it says a lot as well in terms of how he got it done, where in the home run column, he's tied with Sabine Ceballos. In the RBI column, he's tied with Sabine Ceballos. It's not necessarily like he's pacing the pack. This lineup from top to bottom has so much protection, whether it be Ceballos, Colby Shade, Tanner Smith, and I think that really does help out a hitter like Drew Cali. Do you agree?
I think so. I mean, I think that having depth to a lineup is always a big deal. Like, you could be the best hitter in baseball, and if you have no protection in the lineup around you, it's very rare that you're going to see a fastball, and it's very rare that you're going to see a strike. Well, with Sabine Ceballos behind him, you can't really put Drew Cali on, because then Sabine Ceballos is probably going to hit one over the fence. I think that those two guys in the middle of the order, and, like you talked about the RBI numbers that they both have put up, whoever finishes with the most RBIs at the end of the season, it's going to be a single season record. Like, that's amazing. A single season record for an individual. The previous record was 57, and both of those guys have already broken that number this year. It's really pretty amazing. So I think that the length of a lineup is always important. And I think throughout the course of the season, there have even been days where, for example, Cali and Ceballos have been off, and then the bottom of the order has it going. Like, Bennett Thompson was on a streak during the Pac-12 tournament and dating back to the Utah series where he had gotten a hit in 12 of his last 15 at bats. That's the number 8 hitter in the lineup who's doing that for the Ducks. And so, yeah, length in the order is always important. I think Oregon has that, and I think that's going to be a real weapon, especially because, the time that you have to put together a scouting report heading into these regionals, it's more difficult when you're doing it for 3 teams rather than 1. It's also more difficult when you got the long travel day, you've got the short turnaround in general. I think that the regionals end up being a lot more about your team than they do about the opponent scout. Whereas in conference play, I think the opponent scout can really change things. It can really just look at, the way that teams shift and the way that the analytics play into what they do. I think that the amount of data that you're able to break down heading into a regional is probably less than you do for a conference team. There's less familiarity, that's for sure. That's not always the case, but I think in general that's the case. And so regionals end up, I think, being a lot more about, what is your team going to be good at? What can your team capitalize on? And to me, that's where Oregon has a good chance here, because the Ducks have had a very deep lineup that's hard to get out all year long. And if you're going to put up a ton of runs and crooked numbers, that's going to be tough on a pitching staff in a regional situation.
You mentioned streaks, you mentioned program records in there. I want to touch on Drew Smith, because what he's been doing has been otherworldly. As a freshman, there has not been a game this year in which he's recorded an at-bat where he hasn't gotten a hit.
Right.
How unprecedented is that, just across from what you've seen from the history of this program and just how hard it is to hit as a collegiate baseball player?
Well, it's very difficult. I mean, the old adage is that hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in sports, right? And so when you come in as an 18-year-old and you're doing what he's doing, it's a big deal. I mean, maybe the best compliment that I can give his active 19-game hitting streak is that the program record previously was 18, and it was by Spencer Steer. And Spencer Steer might be the rookie of the year in Major League Baseball this year, the way that he's playing for the Reds. And so that tells you the kind of level that Drew Smith is on. They also happen to play the same position when Drew is on defense and not DHing. That's kind of cool to see those parallels. So I've been very impressed with the way that he performs. And, because he does it in multiple ways. Like, he's a guy who's going to bloop one over the second baseman with 2 strikes. He's also a guy who's going to hit one over the center field fence in a 3-1 count. He's just a good, consistent hitter in that regard. He just puts the ball in play. I always say on the broadcast, I find myself saying it all the time, that you put the ball in play, good things happen, particularly in college. Like, these guys aren't professional defenders yet. Some of the best defenders or some of the best hitters, if they can't defend, they don't make it to Major League Baseball. And so you put the ball in play, good things happen. And Drew Smith tends to do that.
I want to ask you just one more thing before we get out of here. You mentioned the preparation changes between a Pac-12 series and a regional. I know when I was with softball with Melissa Lombardi in the regional, she was very focused on Notre Dame. Didn't want to talk about Arkansas until they got to that game. From your conversations with Mark Wazakowski, is that the same philosophy? Is it Xavier, or does Vanderbilt sort of sneak into the minds of the coaching staff when they are preparing for this regional?
I think the focus is Xavier, because you can spend a lot of time on Vanderbilt, and if you don't beat Xavier, it doesn't matter. But I think that, me as the broadcaster, I'm looking at Vanderbilt in Eastern Illinois, I'm looking at them. Now, certainly the stuff that I look at is far less than what the coaches are looking at. The focus, though, is to win the first game. I mean, you can lose the first one. You may still end up playing Vanderbilt, but if you lost the first one, that might end up being the end of the whole thing. So just with the way that things can work out in a regional and the way that pitching can get taxed, I think winning the first one is just such a big deal. So yeah, to me, it is a focus on Xavier. In fact, getting in the elevator last night, maybe this is the best way that I can describe it to you. A fellow patron of the hotel, somebody else who was staying here, she kind of looked at all of us and was like, "So what gives? Like, why Oregon? Like, what are you guys doing here?" And I just said, "Oh, we're playing baseball at Vanderbilt." And Jack Martyr just goes, "Well, Xavier first, then maybe Vanderbilt." And I was just letting her know, that, hey, we're playing at the Vanderbilt baseball field is more than that's really what I was trying to get across. But Jack's right. You got to get through Xavier first, or we're not even having a conversation about the Vandy boys.
Xavier, 10 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow. Joey Mack on the call for the Oregon Sports Network. Anything else that we should know, that fans should know before we get you out of here?
Well, I just hope for a good regional. I mean, these are fun. This is what it's all about. You play all these games to get into these double elimination tournaments, and then you can pretty much throw out the regular season, which makes it fun, which makes it scary. But I think this is going to come down to the mentality. The Ducks had a really, really strong mentality in the Pac-12 tournament. Their bullpen was great. The offense did what it needed to do. When you get to the postseason, it doesn't matter how you win. You just got to win games. And so that's what I'm looking forward to. I hope that they get the chance to advance and keep playing, because I think that this team's starting to hit a stride here with some injuries that no doubt derailed them a little bit. They were on a streak where they lost 8 of 9 in the month of May. But then winning the Pac-12 tournament, I think this team has a lot of momentum right now. I wouldn't count them out. I wouldn't bet against them.
Well, Joey, I will keep your seat warm for you here, and here's to hoping that you're probably on the road for a few more weekends to close out this season.
Yeah, that's the plan. I appreciate you filling in, Ryan. I know that it was a tough trip back with softball from Oklahoma. Looking forward to talking with Coach Lombardi next week to review that. But, yeah, we're coming up on the end of the season with track and field championships in Texas, not this coming weekend, but the next weekend. The mantle is left to baseball to keep playing into the month of June. So let's hope for that. I hope that you're hosting the show a few more times. How about that?
Sounds like a plan to me. It's Joey Mack. I would give you a fist bump, virtual fist bump to Joey Mack. Oregon baseball, they're playing 10 a.m. tomorrow against Xavier in the game 1 of the regional. Joey mentioned it, the most important game to have success in regional play. We will talk with Oregon soccer head coach Graeme Abel as their season, don't look now, but it's almost right around the corner. So previewing the Oregon soccer season next, you're listening to the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear roads, trails, and rivers. Ready for some SUV action? Drive family adventures with the Highlander. Make a splash with the RAV4. Or haul fun with the Sequoia. Check them at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Dear Summer, enter for a chance to win great outdoor gear at DearSummerSweeps.com. Toyota, let's go places.
No purchase necessary. Open to legal residents in select Oregon and Southwest Washington. Zip codes 18 plus years of age. Ends 8/123 at 11:59 p.m. PT. Void where prohibited. For complete rules, visit DearSummerSweeps.com.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is an important message from the Mine Safety and Health Administration. Mining fatalities, accidents, and injuries are preventable. Taking a minute to approach your task safely can protect you and your fellow miners from injury and death. Staying alert and focused can keep you safe. Do it safe. Do it right. Whether buckling a seatbelt or securing equipment, these quick safety measures can prevent injuries and fatalities. Take time. Save lives. For more resources, visit MSHA.gov.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union here in the Country Financial Studios. We just talked with Joey Mack. He is in Nashville. And how about some more Inception? Because on Tuesday, before Joey left to go to Nashville, he sat down, had a conversation with Oregon soccer head coach Graeme Abel. They just finished off their spring season. They're preparing for their fall season. So let's hear what the coach of the Ducks on the pitch had to say. Here's Coach Abel.
It's almost soccer season. Graeme Abel is here.
Here we are.
We're sitting down on a Tuesday before I'm heading out to Nashville. It worked with Graham's schedule, so thank you, Coach Abel, for taking the time.
Nashville's a fun city.
Is it? Where should I go? What should I do?
It's been a long time since I was there. I went to college like 2 hours away from there, so.
So should I go get the tour of your alma mater? Is that worth my time?
That would take a solid 90 seconds.
That's fine.
800 students when I went there.
But how many
valuable experiences would I learn about because you're one of the most famous alumni?
I wouldn't go that far.
Why not? Why not?
There's some big-time alumni that went there.
Name 3 that are bigger than you. You were a national team coach.
No, don't go there. No.
Fans.
No.
All right.
Not a chance.
Can I have the name of your alma mater, please?
Brescia University. Now, the town owns Borough, Kentucky. Johnny Depp.
Okay.
Michael and Darrell Waltrip, the NASCAR drivers.
Okay. But that's the town.
Well, I don't know. I honestly don't know the alumni that went there.
Distinguished alumni, according to the very first Google search. Chris Holtman.
No idea.
American basketball coach.
There you go.
Joey
Mack?
No. Another Joey. He's an American author. Goebel. Goebel, I think. Don't know. Deanna Ortiz. A nun. Did not know that.
The nuns were awesome there.
Anthony Lee Ingram, American former professional basketball player. And on the Google search, Graeme Abel, Oregon soccer coach and a national team soccer coach.
No.
You did not know that you walked into this today, did you?
No, I did not.
Neither did I. This is great. So one of the most distinguished alumni of Brescia University. This is going to end up on their Alumni Association webpage if I have anything to say about it.
I appreciate it.
In all seriousness, I'm going to ask you a little bit of an out-of-left-field question because we got on the Nashville subject. You have traveled so much in your career. What is your secret to traveling, and how do you do it?
TSA pre-check's a big one,
Okay.
which I'm like that to our kids. Do you not have TSA pre-check? No, I don't. I'm like, okay, you need to get you that. In all of the airport lounges.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're worth the $500-$600 a year.
Huh.
And if you can have that luxury or whatever it is, it's worth it. Internet, food, sit down, get some work done. Sometimes you can shower if you're traveling internationally.
Yeah.
So I traveled back from Brazil once into Miami and was able to shower. It was like I was up in before the Olympics up in the Amazon area.
See, that's so great you said. I've always said that what every airport needs is a gym and a shower.
Yeah.
Like, I think that would be a game changer for me with layovers.
Shower is huge, an absolute huge.
See, this is why we bring Coach Abel on the show for these sorts of life
And then
lessons.
points, getting upgrades. It's another piece.
Okay.
Get your upgrades.
Yeah, be comfortable. So you're in for if you travel a lot, be comfortable.
Yeah.
All right. Graeme Abel, Oregon soccer head coach, distinguished Brescia University alumni. Review the spring.
You killed me on that one. Absolutely kill me.
This is going up on the whiteboard. There's a big whiteboard. I know this whiteboard in your office. I'm going to find a way to write it on that whiteboard and just leave it for you for a rainy day. This is great. How'd the spring go?
Awesome. We got a lot done. I think that the biggest piece was getting us healthy. We had a number of long-term injuries from the fall. Our AT, Corey, did an unbelievable job with that to get those guys back in a really good place from a physical standpoint, but also a mental standpoint as well. So they feel good about that. And so we played the first 3 of our 4 spring games with only 11 outfield players.
Really?
Yeah, it was. I mean, and we went 75 minutes, 80 minutes, and then finished the last one, I think 90 minutes. So we did an outstanding job with regards to that. The kids were awesome. So we started to layer in the things we want for the fall, kind of identity piece. And then Wyatt Briggs, with new strength and conditioning coach with Wyatt Briggs, and he did an awesome job in terms of layering in the physical piece as well as we look to build obviously to August and then beyond August, into November. And so, really good spring. Got a lot done.
How big of a deal is that aspect? Like, you guys have some games to work on tactics, but the off-season conditioning, really important too, to peak toward August.
Yeah, I mean, I think the longer you're in any organization, really, you realize how big your support staff is in terms of them hitting every piece of their position as well. And we really did that this this spring. I mean, huge shout out against Corey, Wyatt Briggs, Ben McKay, Jordan Troster, all those guys. James French, our dietitian. So they did a lot with our roster in terms of working with each of the kids to get that piece taken care of, making sure they were healthy. And so we've made massive strides there because, we're going to be a young roster in terms of age. So making sure that they've been able to hit their potential has been huge.
Talking about your staff, it's been a while since you've been on Duck Insider, and,
Yep.
and since then I talked about Sean Mapson, whose office is just down the hall, but a chance for you to talk about your new assistant coach.
Yeah, awesome. We needed someone to come in and handle the day-to-day, piece with the goalkeepers. I was doing it again, but I'm getting up there in age these days, so my legs are about to fall off. So no, Sean's been able to take on that piece. He's been able to do the recruiting side of it, take on the day-to-day piece of that for us as well. So and he's an exceptional coach doing the set pieces as well. So it's been great for the goalkeepers to have him through this entire spring. I think they were tired of my voice. So he's been a huge addition. Really good in terms of sliding in alongside Rach and I and working with the rest of the staff. So really excited to have him, and really good coach and a great guy as well.
Tactically, what were some of your focuses in the spring? What do you want to get better at as a team?
To look at some shapes and stuff in terms of what we could play in the fall. Knowing what personnel we have coming in. Being able to get pressure on the ball. We talk a lot about set pieces, getting some of those pieces back in place. Really spending the time to layer that information. Knowing that we're not going to get it all accomplished right now, but we knew we needed to get back to being the best version of ourselves in terms of not chopping and changing too much based upon the opposition, but understanding our identity, understanding our roles and responsibilities, and then being very good at doing that.
Oregon soccer continuing to work in the offseason as they continue to march forward towards their season, which will start in the middle of August. When we come back after this timeout, Joey Mack will continue the conversation with distinguished Brescia University alumni Graeme Abel. We come back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, OnPoint proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. OnPoint Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCAA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Farming is dangerous. There's dangers all around us.
We go through safety training and try and do these things to make sure accidents don't happen.
You don't want to hit a gas pipe because that's your life. The other part of it is if you hit certain things, you're liable for it.
Farm Safe 811 starts with you. Always call 811 and wait for any underground lines to be marked.
Always keep safety in the back of your mind. Just stay humble.
For more information, go to farmsafe811.org.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the drug facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the drug facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/drug facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studios. It's Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Ryan Milano filling in for Joey Mack, and I am very surprised, actually, that Graeme Abel, whose office is right across the hall from studio, didn't come in and have something to say after I called him a distinguished Brescia University alumni as we sent it to break. So, Joey Mack, he's still continuing that conversation with distinguished Brescia University alumni and Oregon head soccer coach Graeme Abel. Let's hear part 2 of the interview with Coach.
Coaches are always kind of adapting around personnel. That's really what you're getting at here, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, brutally honest, I think I made mistakes last season in terms of adapting too much, in terms of tinkering with things and doing this and doing that. If I had my time back, I would do that piece a little bit differently. At the end of the day, we want all of our student athletes to be able to take the information on board and then apply that information. And if as coaches we're chopping and changing all the time, they're never going to get it. So we did a good job this winter and spring of layering that in, and then on top of it, finding out where each of our student athletes needed to evolve within their game. Where were they already strong, and we wanted to push that on even more. And so we spent a lot of time doing that, especially in the winter period when we were in the 8-hour period there. And all credit goes to our kids because they applied themselves exceptionally well as well.
Graeme Abel joining us, Oregon soccer head coach. They're always the first team to start coming up. So the summer goes quick. What are your summer plans?
Mine? Well, I've already built a fence in the backyard.
Nice
Did a bit of the garden, put a hammock up yesterday. So
the hammock?
A hammock, yeah.
So are you you're a fall asleep in the hammock guy?
Well, my wife was making fun of me because when I was getting on it was sinking really low. So it was, so it's bit of a contraption in the backyard right now.
My wife loves a hammock.
It's comfortable.
Yeah. I'm kind of anti-hammock. I'm always afraid I'm going to flip over and fall on my face.
It did happen once to me.
Did it actually?
Yeah, it did yesterday. It did.
I kind of was kidding, but I'm serious.
Off I came. So, no, summer plans. I mean, we've got recruiting non-stop. June 15th is the first opportunity for us to talk to the 2025 class. So that will roll around here in a couple of weeks. We'll head out to the ECNL National Championships at the end of June. We've got a few camps going on.
Nice.
Our 2023 class arrives at the end of June as well. So it's going to be a busy. Our summer goes so quick. I tell people all the time. People are like, "Are you going on vacation?" I'm like,
"No."
Christmas, the holiday period time is my summer.
Yeah.
And that's when I can just do nothing. But no, the summer. It's going to be an exciting period for us this summer.
What's the onboarding process like for those new recruits once they get here? Because it's the end of the academic year coming up in a couple weeks for the current student athletes, and then they're starting in the summer.
Yeah, I think it's like 13 days or 12 days from when our kids move out and then the new group comes in. So they'll do the summer bridge piece within the athletic department. They'll come in I think the 25th of June. So we'll get them onboarded, and big piece goes to Lindsay, you know what I mean, and she takes care of a lot of them as our academic advisor and makes sure they get acclimatized, make sure they get into classes. They'll do work we can't work with them as coaches, but they'll do work with Wyatt, and he'll start to prep them for the season.
Love it. Before we know it, it's going to be soccer season. Also, you talk about the academic side. I did want to ask you this. We mentioned this on the show a few weeks ago that the academic progress rating, it always kind of keeps track of where different sports are and different teams are in terms of academics for student athletes. It is a student athlete after all. And yet again, your team was one of the top performers in the athletic department. I know that's a big deal to you, isn't it?
It's huge. I mean, if you talk about the total student athlete experience, that's the piece where you want them to excel. You want them to hit their potential and beyond in the classroom as well. So again, Lindsay Bingham, she's been the constant, and she's the one that holds down the standard there for us. The relationship she builds with the kids and the trust that she builds in with them. She just does an awesome job. The communication and everything that goes with it, and you see how it pays off in the classroom. And then obviously all the resources our kids have as well. The JQuer and the mentors and the tutors and all those different pieces. Then they're really set up for success.
You got a schedule coming up in the fall. I know it's going to be announced one of these days.
Yep.
Anything preview-wise you can give us?
A couple of big football schools, right, in Baylor and Arkansas. So we'll bring Baylor into town here. We go on the road to Arkansas. A couple of other, really good non-conference games. So looking forward to it. Rach does all our scheduling, and she's done a really good job of it again to prepare us and make sure we'll sit nicely in the RPI.
Yeah, it comes quick though, like I was saying. So we'll be on the air for Duck Insider for about 2 weeks, and then the first soccer game is played. And then are you back with us weekly?
Why not? Why not?
I'll make that.
Monday's our off day, so for our kids, so I can just pop over here, no problem. That's the day I'm actually in this office.
Yeah, the Monday was Coach Abel's routine that we've built. So it's always like a nice weekend review. We get Coach Abel, and you're a great leadoff hitter for Matt Ulmer. Let me tell you, because Matt Ulmer later in the week, like it goes everywhere.
Two different type of hair products, though, right?
True.
To go back to the hair product piece.
True.
Matt's definitely the gel type, and I'm definitely the razor type.
Are you a straight blade razor guy?
I am now, yeah. Although my father-in-law bought me one of those. They're like these, it's like a rounded electric one. And
really?
It does the job when you don't want to go for the straight razor piece, but the straight razor piece gives you the high shine.
So I think that I need to go to the old school straight razor. I do. I mean,
on your head?
Sure. But also on the face. I mean, do you use one razor for the whole spherical
of
the head?
I just look like a giant kind of. I look like a Q-tip. I've just got shaving gel
everything
all over the top
eyebrows.
of me. Yeah, you got to be careful you don't do the eyebrows. I do have a unibrow though, so I do get the little piece in the middle of the eyebrow.
Makes sense. Makes sense. See, these are the things that you come to Duck Insider for. We've got travel tips, distinguished alumni. I mean, it doesn't get any better. Coach, anything else you want fans to know heading into the fall?
No, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody out. Being able to play in some golf tournaments this summer already.
Nice.
And, I feel as though I'm still meeting people for the first time. I keep saying this every summer, but obviously things got shut down for 18 months there. So got out and got to meet some of our supporters and donors and things like that. Some of the golf events, which was huge. I think I've got another one this week, so I'll be like Tiger Woods by the end of the summer. So it's just really looking forward to seeing everybody out at Pape again and all the different facilities and all the different events that we've got going on. It's awesome to see our fans out there.
I'm looking forward to, you'll notice we talked a little bit about the roster and what you saw in the spring, but I'm looking forward to having those roster conversations with you.
Yeah.
I realized after you were saying that 11 players healthy at one point for one of your games, it's unfair right now for me to ask you for a roster breakdown, but in August, we can talk through it a little more.
No, I mean, we had some kids that just had unbelievable springs. Caitlin Pokolba, Kayla McCullough, so it's I'm really excited about our group. I think talent-wise, it's a great group. And now it's up to us coaches to provide the right environment that gets the best out of them.
That's exciting. Graeme Abel, Oregon soccer coach. Thank you,
sir. My friend.
It won't be long until Oregon soccer is opening up the 2023-2024 athletic year for Oregon in middle to late August. We have to get a timeout, but when we come back, honors, accolades, new Ducks, and All-Americans. All that next. You're listening to Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, OnPoint proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. OnPoint Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCAA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
Unused prescription opioid pain medicines can spell trouble. They can spell risk if taken by someone they weren't prescribed for, harm if accidentally taken by a child or pet, or overdose if they're not used as directed. Safely dispose of opioids before they can hurt your family. Find a drug take-back option such as medicine drop boxes. You may find these in your community at local pharmacies or police stations. Visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
We're back on Duck Insider here on a Thursday. Final show of the week, as tomorrow it's Oregon baseball at 10 a.m. Pacific time versus Xavier in the regional round. You can listen to Joey Mack on the call for the Oregon Sports Network as well. Yesterday we touched on the O show that happened Tuesday night. We didn't get into specific awards. We didn't have time. We'll get into that right now. I just want to run down the list and recognize everyone that was honored at the O show awards on Tuesday. First, the Faculty SAAC Award to Lena Shanley. Congratulations. The Athletic Staff SAAC Award to Jackie Schur. Congratulations. The O Heroes Award to Oregon Cross Country's Hannah Subert. 2 claps for her. The Jaquan Award for the male athlete with the highest GPA, Tyler Gannis. He'll be playing tomorrow at 10 a.m. Congratulations, Tyler. The Jaquan Award for the woman athlete with the highest GPA, tie between 2 female athletes, Izzy Thornton-Bott of Oregon Track and Field. Congratulations. Also, Colleen Uzokwe. Congratulations. Freshman of the Year, Mimi Collier of Oregon Volleyball. Congratulations, honored at the O Show. The Doyle Higdon Memorial Award for Achievement in Athletics, Academics, and Citizenship. That goes to Bryce Betcher. Oregon baseball, Oregon football, congratulations. The Jackson Athletic Award for the outstanding graduating female athlete, Carly Novak of Oregon Acro-Tum. Congratulations to her. The Emerald Athletic Award for the male athlete that is graduating goes to Alex Forsyth of Oregon football. Congratulations. The Herb Yamanaka Pride Award, 2 athletes get that one. Oregon softball's Caitlin Howard. Also, Lexi Likens of Oregon lacrosse as well, honored for that award. The Comeback Player of the Year, Hannah Pukas, the setter for Oregon volleyball. 2 claps for her. The Best Female Athlete of the Year, now professional in Turkey. Guess who it is? It's Brooke Nuneviller. Congratulations, Brooke Nuneviller. Of course, that's Brooke's award. She was phenomenal this year. Best Male Athlete, Oregon Track and Field's Micah Williams earns that one. And the Best Team, Oregon Volleyball, made a deep run in the NCAA tournament. Congratulations to everyone honored in the O Show Awards on Tuesday, all of those student athletes. Now time for your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. The 2-minute drill brought to you by Cafe Yum, restaurants throughout Oregon and Washington serving Northwest-inspired catering and takeout for your next gathering or meeting. Menus at cafeyum.com. All-Americans for Oregon softball. First, it's Tara McGowan, named to an NFCA first-team All-American. First time for her. She's honored. Great way to finish up the career for Tara McGowan. Also named as the Diamond Sports Catcher of the Year, best catcher across the country. Who else but number 11 behind the dish in green and yellow? Congratulations to her. Allie Bunker, a second-team All-American. Drew Cali, collegiate baseball All-American, third team. Women's basketball adds Priscilla Williams, a new guard for them, comes to Eugene. And men's basketball incoming freshmen Mookie Cook and Jackson Shellstad invited to the Team USA Under-19 training camp. A lot of Ducks, a lot of honorees. Have a good one. Go Ducks tomorrow.
Are you thinking about buying medicine online? A search for online pharmacies yields more than 20 million results. But which ones can you trust? Medicines bought from unlicensed online pharmacies can be dangerous. You may get a fake drug, your condition may get worse, or you may experience a bad reaction. Don't put your health at risk. To learn how to find an online pharmacy